What's going on, guys? I'm back with a brand new suggestion box review for you guys. And I just watched a show called Doctor Who Season 1, The Revival. What that means, it's not the 1960s ones. This is the 2005 Doctor Who. Starring Christopher Eccleston, Billy Piper, and Noel Clarke. There's a reason he's not in the cast originally for the namings. I'll get into that in a minute. First of all, I want to introduce a new contender to the suggestion box review game. Her name is Brianna Richard. All right, she's a coworker of mine. She suggested this very show to me. I appreciate that. Keep them coming. Keep the suggestions coming. First of all, again, this show very much reminded me of the shows I used to watch at like 2 a.m. in the morning. All right. And some weren't really 2 a.m. Some were just like during the day. But they weren't cable programs or nothing like that. This was like normal network TV. Okay. Remember that? Remember that? Yeah, this was that. Shows like Benny Hills, all right, which originally was on BBC, of course, which is probably the only other show that I have ever had interest in watching from BBC. It was hilarious. Some might think perverted show, but that was the show of the times. That was the show of the times. It was true comedy. It didn't get too crazy. All right. Of course, it was trying to, get between the standards of what it could do, but it was so funny. It was so funny from what I remember. The running scene at the end of every show, and the classic. Then there was Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. All right. This was originally on USA. I remember I think it was on UPN or something like that, Channel 39, WB, something of that order. All right, this was with Kevin Sorbo. He played Hercules. He didn't look like he was going to play Hercules, but that he made it happen. Okay. Also, that's where Xena the Princess Warrior came from, which we'll talk about in a minute. All right, this is a show I used to watch every time it came on, after church, whatever. Okay, another classic, another fantasy tale story classic. All right. Then, of course, came Xena, the Warrior Princess. The other way around. All right. Which was a spinoff, of course, of Hercules. This got a little more fame than Hercules. I wonder why. I wonder why. But besides that, she had the little warrior call she did. And she was just a little more gangster than Hercules was, even though he had more strength. He's Hercules, but she was a little more G. I respect that. Then there was, and a lot of you don't remember this, Mutant X. All right, this definitely came on at 2 a.m. at night. All right, or in the morning, however you perceive that. And it's one of the lesser X-Men shows and comic books as well. All right. Not a lot of people are going to remember this either way, but I remember it. It wasn't that great, but it was just interesting to know that the X-Men were being appreciated at 2 a.m. in the morning. All right. Then there was It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, a lot of people are going to scratch their heads like, well, this came on FX. We all know that. But that's not how I was introduced to the show. I was introduced through the reruns when it was barely still coming out. Like the first 3 or 4 seasons were out already. And the reruns would play on, I believe, Fox. Of course, that would make sense, right? And even though it was heavily edited through the episodes and, a lot of the curse words and some of the scenes were taken out because it was network TV, I still enjoyed this show. Hands down. No games. So it made me go out and actually buy the DVDs and the Blu-ray sets and all that, and actually get a chance to see the real show, which was an even better experience, of course. All right. Then, last but not least, there was Live from Daryl's House. Now, yeah, you're asking, this has nothing to do with the other ones, not on the genre, but still, I remember this. This only came on at night. This definitely came on at 2 a.m. Okay, this definitely came on. This guy had so many guests, so many legendary rock stars come on and sing old school songs with him. His own songs, their songs, whatever songs they wanted to sing, Daryl Hall was there to sing it. All right. And he was probably one of the coolest hosts you could ever see on a show like this. All right. If you remember that, you're a real one. You're definitely a real one. All right. Congrats. You have insomnia. All right. And now we're talking about Doctor Who Season 1, of course. Will this have that same feel? Because it does to me. Ignore that. It does to me. All right. We're about to find out. Let's go. Doctor Who Season 1, for those who know, for those who are not aware. Come on, man. Come on now. If you're not aware of Doctor Who at any level by now, you're still flying around on this telephone booth with the police sign in front, lost in time. You have to be lost in time. You're actually in the show. That's why you don't know about it. Okay? Don't play me. Don't play me. Doctor Who Season 1. Doctor Who Season 1 is pretty much surrounding this girl named Rose. All right? She has a normal life, lives with her mother, has a little annoying boyfriend. Don't know why she's with him. And all of a sudden, one day at her job, the mannequins start attacking her. Now, this is definitely not normal. All right? And she, after like 10 minutes, she realizes it's not a prank. And she runs for her life. All right? Just in her luck, the 9th Doctor bumps into her, saves her life, gets her out of danger and harm, and then introduces her to his world. All right, of time traveling and just dimensions upon dimensions. Okay, and that's the primitive premises of Season 1. Positives. This show had the strongest sci-fi lore you could ever see. It was so, there was so many options. There was so many options to choose from. You had aliens, you had robots, ghosts, demons, more aliens, all kind of different dimensions and parallel universes and everything you could think of within the sci-fi universe of anything that sci-fi has ever dealt with. Doctor Who has it. And I see why so many people love it. Well, basically what they call the geek culture, why they praise this show. I can see why. Because if you like this, they got that. You like this, they got that. They got the Daleks, which is the robot race. Okay? You got the Slitheenes, which is this fat, nasty, slimy, gross aliens that wear human skin. You have ghosts and spirits and other kind of it's just, spectres going around, all that. Spirits, all kind of stuff going on. All right? Different levels of higher gods and everything. Everything you think of, they got it. They got it. Okay? Another positive about this. This really had an unexpected humor to it. I was going into the show because I have never seen it, never had a mind to watch it, heard so much about it, saw this mentioned in an episode of Big Bang Theory long time ago. Still didn't have interest in it, didn't care. So I thought it would be quite boring. All right, to be honest with you. But there are a lot of jokes in here that caught me off guard. That really caught me off guard. I mean, there's the mother to Rose, who's is just this fast lady who's constantly looking for a man or just somebody to be with. And of course, she hits on the doctor. And she brings to his attention that she's in her robe with no clothes under it. And he's a stranger in her room, in her house. And he's like, yeah, I see that. And then when she goes for the kill, he's like, no. And that was so funny. That was so funny that he just quickly turned that down. He turned it down immediately. All right. And then we have things like the Slithines, which I mentioned earlier, which is this race of slimy, fat aliens who are wearing fat people bodysuits. In other words, human suits that are also, obese people. All right. And they just can't keep their gases down. They're always farting and burping. And some people might see this as immature humor. But I, once again, did not expect them to do that. Out of a supposedly serious show to just have aliens just farting every time every chance they got. All right. That really shocked me. It made me laugh. I laughed every time they did it. I just couldn't help myself. All right. And there's other things that happen within the show that are they catch you off guard. All right. They catch you off guard with the laughs. I always appreciate that. Tops. Another positive about this. The analyzation of the Ninth Doctor. All right. Now, granted, I just came into this. All right. But I'm still aware that there are different doctors throughout the seasons. And some don't just stay one season. They stay for like a long time. But in this case, the Ninth Doctor stays for just one season. And that's cool. That's cool because just within that one season, Christopher Eccleston stood out. He stood out. He stood out strong, man. He was one of the doctors that was confident but not arrogant. Okay, and he had a heart. He actually had two hearts. All right, so he really cared. He really cared. He genuinely cared about the people he saved, the lives he saved. All right, he was passionate about that, and at the same time, he was just confident about his abilities and his knowledge. All right, and what he could do. All right. And Rose doubted him so many times, but he's like, I've got this and I can do this because I'm experienced and I know what I'm doing. And I respected that, man. I respected that. He was my tour guide to the time travel. I listened to everything he says because he looked like he knew what he was doing. All right. I can't say that much for the next couple of Doctor Who's. We'll see. All right. And then my last positive. My favorite episode. All right. There's an episode that most definitely deals with Rose and her character. All right. It's where she goes back in time to an era where her father was still alive. All right. And then, of course, you can imagine that a lot of things are brought up, a lot of places she can't go, or else she'll mess up the time ripple or whatever the hell is going on with that. Okay, she'll mess all that up. And just the outcome of that episode, some might shed a tear. Somebody might get a little choked up watching that episode, man, because you already know the outcome. But when you watched it, you're cheering for it to be different. You're cheering for a different outcome. You're cheering for it to turn out in a more positive way. But you know what's going to happen already. And you learn a lot more about her father and what kind of guy he was and where she might have got a lot more of her personality from besides her mother. All right. So you learn a whole lot through that episode about Rose as a character. And I have to say that is one of my favorite episodes out of this season. Okay. Easily. And along with that, speaking of episodes, I can't go to negatives without mentioning this last thing. There's sort of a subliminal message throughout the show that if you're not keen on stuff like this, you're not going to catch it. I didn't catch it. Yes, of all people, I didn't catch just not a one. Not maybe to the last few episodes, maybe, when it was utterly obvious what was going on. All right. You have to go back. You have to. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say any words, nothing, clues, nothing, Easter egg, nothing. I'm not going to say nothing. You put on your Inspector Gadget glasses and you check that out yourself. All right. I like how that turned out. Negatives. Mickey. Remember that pesky boyfriend I talked about earlier that Rose had? That's Mickey. That's Mickey. He's just overexcited all the time for nothing. He's very clingy towards Rose. For some reason, Rose is still keeping him around. I don't know why. Because she does him so wrong throughout this entire season. Different dudes that she likes and catches feelings for. The doctor. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever, and someone off of a telephone booth just jumps out and says, "Hey, come with me." Don't bring your boyfriend. Don't bring him. And you're just like, okay, bro, it's time to give it up. It's by the time you come back, because of the decision you made, you'll be single. Messing with me, you'll be single. I'll have a whole nother life going on. I'll go on with my life. Yeah, I will be out of the episode. I'll be out of the show. That's it. It's it for me. I'm not coming back. That's disrespect. That's so disrespectful. But for the fact that he still waited, I don't like Mickey. He's just a glutton for punishment. And in some ways, I can't blame other people for not liking him. Doctor Who does not like him at all. Doctor Who detests Mickey very much. I can't blame him for that. I think it's for that reason. He sees how embarrassing that is, I think, in a way. And it's just like, it couldn't be me. It couldn't be me, man. Come on. Another negative. When this show first started out, and I was warned about this, but I just couldn't believe it until I saw it for myself. It really had some cheap production, all right, to the show. There was an explosion on episode 1 that just looked like they got that out of a video game. I don't know what they did. That was very bad. You could tell it was fake fire immediately. It was obvious. All right, who are you fooling? All right, and there was the mannequins that they were starting slow. They were starting real slow. There's other things in there that just you could tell was all CGI, if you call that CGI. All right, it's so bad. All right. But it got better with time, but just it's not easy getting through those first few episodes. Let's put it like that. Last negative. The lack of adult content. Now I know what you're gonna say. Corey, you don't need adult content in every show, but I'm used to shows like that now. All right. I've been spoiled. So with this show, with the jokes they already had, I was looking so hard for some kind of a racier joke, all right, a raunchier joke, some scenes with some sex or just like half nudity or something like that. Something. This show has the potential to show that, all right. It's not needed per se, but it would have added on to the entertainment. All right. The violence could have been upped a little bit as well. But it's not that kind of show, I guess. But I'm going to give this an I cool. That's right. I'm giving it an I cool. Okay. It was a show that I didn't think I would fall into, but I'm invested now. I'm invested. That's it. Press that like button, share. You better subscribe.